Well, it is October, and it is a surprise like no other. President Trump testing positive for COVID-19 just 32 days before the election, forcing his campaign to take a look at things. How will it look going forward? The president had been planning to hit some key battleground states in the coming days, including Florida, Wisconsin twice, actually, and Arizona. Fox News contributor Karl Rove joins me now. Karl, thank you for being here. Let's start there, how this immediately impacts things. And can the president just kick it virtual? His backers or his supporters are kind of different. They want to be with him.
Yeah, they do. So he's going to have to figure out how to be with them in virtual ways. For example, he can do a telephone town hall where literally his supporters are given a phone number to dial in, and he delivers a message over that. He also can deliver messages through the traditional means. For example, let's say that he spends a morning talking to different people around the country who are going to be adversely impacted by Joe Biden's vow in the debate to eliminate the Trump tax cuts, all of the Trump tax cuts. So talk to some middle-class families who are going to be negatively impacted by seeing their rates go back up and their child tax credit go down, and that they're going to lose several $1,000s a year in higher taxes. Have him talk to them, and then have him call into a program that he likes and have him deliver a focused message to the American people on what that's going to mean to them. So, you know, in politics, when you got faced with adversity, when you're given lemons, make lemonade, and the president's going to have to find a way to occupy the time in the next 14 days. And the irony is that he may be more focused and disciplined by doing so. He's not going to be going, to Duluth, Minnesota, and giving a speech for 70 minutes and say something wild. He's going to be focused and disciplined.
I am curious about how this perhaps undercuts some of the messaging that the president has had around the pandemic. I mean, it takes no genius to look at the situation and know that we are in an election year and things will be said out on the campaign trail. And I'm wondering, does he change that message? Does he make it more focused? Because Joe Biden was picking up speed in the polling on coronavirus and the topic.
Well, the president was suffering attacks by Biden. I think, incidentally, those were unfair because Joe Biden, if you go back and look at the record, what Joe Biden was saying in January, February, and March, he opposed not only the China travel ban, but the European travel ban. And his people, the people who were advising him on this issue, were saying things that were completely, Dr. Emanuel said, don't go out and buy a mask, it won't do any good. Erwin Rhinelander, a doctor advising Biden, said the likelihood of people dying is remote, very unlikely. His chief advisor, Ron Klain, said, we're not facing a health pandemic, we're facing a fear pandemic, accusing the president of hyping the threat from coronavirus. So Biden himself, when he gave a speech on March 13th laying out his plan on this, never mentions masks, never mentions social distancing, never mentions lockdowns. And of course, his administration left behind a empty cupboard of PPE material because they ran through it and didn't resupply it. So, it's unfair, but yes, the president now is going to be in a different place. I don't think a lot of people are going to go around saying, see, we told you so, even you got it. What we do know about this disease is that anybody can get it. Yeah, well, we've already had them. They're already saying it. Go take a look at the social media and some of these prominent Democrats.
Yeah. Politically speaking, though, we know that the litmus test for humanity is when you can take the high road and wish somebody well when you know they're down.
Biden did the right thing. He and his wife did the right thing.
Yeah. All right, real quickly, I want to take a look at some other notable October surprises that have wreaked havoc on past presidential campaigns, including two. You were actually working with George W. Bush campaign in 2000 and 2004. What is your idea of something that happens around the 1st or the 2nd, and then the campaign is, brought forward to Election Day? You mentioned some of the positives that could come.
Well, most of the time, October surprises are not pleasant for whoever gets the surprise. In 2000,
no doubt.
The news was leaked that 20 years before, George W. Bush had been arrested for a DUI and Kenny Bunkford for driving 10 miles an hour down Ocean Boulevard. That broke the Thursday before the 2000 election. Wasn't helpful. You could just see the polls tighten up, and particularly starting on the East Coast where the news broke first. 2004, the so-called October surprise was a tape delivered by Osama bin Laden castigating President Bush, but it simply reminded people that President Bush was a wartime leader and didn't affect his standing in the polls.
All right. Good to see you. Thank you for being here,
Harris.
Karl.
You bet.